All right, hello, welcome. We've got a drill down that we're doing to try to get as much education as possible to anyone who wants to understand how to truly make money work for themselves. One of the areas that we know that we want is that we want to have tax-sheltered monies growing for us that are liquid, usable, that we control, and that we learn how to use it. So where we've been teaching is you're going to use an insurance product, but you're going to have to learn how to buy it instead of how it's sold. So many people are confused about the life insurance industry and the structures of the products and the namings. And this segment has been going through my story of Johnny's. We talked about Johnny Term. We talked about Johnny Normal and the differences between how term insurance gets so expensive as you age. And then Johnny Normal showed how normally people are sold permanent life insurance. Another name for that is whole life. And by the way, please don't make the mistake of believing that an adjustable insurance product like a universal life, variable life, fixed index universal life are called guaranteed or called permanent. They are not. I have read on many websites where these insurers actually claim that those adjustable premium products are permanent. They are not. So I want to focus on permanent insurance as being whole life insurance, but a insurance program that you can keep for your whole life, but we structure it in a way where it's massively efficient. So we remember looking at the Johnny Normal structure where you put $15,000 in a contract. Most of the money goes away to cost, the premium stays the same, and cash value grows over time. I showed you an illustration that showed that you don't have a lot of money those first 2 years. You put in $15,000, you have no money in your cash value. You put in another $15,000, you have just $2,000, meaning you've invested $30,000, you've only got $2,000 of savings. You're not bragging to anybody about how great this savings program is, and you just hope you live long enough to see the actual values. Now, how do we buy this right? This is a real fun segment because here's what you do if you truly understand how to buy this product. You go to the insurance company and say, hey, look, I understand about the benefits of having permanent insurance. I understand that you have tax-sheltered favored status with the government, that I don't ever have to receive a 1099, that I actually can use the money inside this program. It's guaranteed, it's safe, it's got all kinds of benefits. I like that about life insurance. But what I don't like about life insurance is that it starts out so terribly. It starts out so poorly as a savings account that I would like to buy this a very different way. So what if I could come to an insurance company, and what if Johnny would learn this, and Johnny would say, hey, look, I would like to buy your life insurance product for all those benefits, but I would really like to purchase as little of your product as possible with the same money, so that I don't have all the monies going away to the cost. All right? Now let that roll around in your head for a little bit, because this is where it gets very different. So Johnny, instead of being normal, Johnny becomes free. We teach at Freedom Strategy Group how people need to learn to become free. So Johnny Be Free goes out and he does the same exact premium you'll see on the left. He's paying the same $15,000 a year, but you'll notice that he's not buying $1.8 million of life insurance anymore. Johnny is now doing just what we described in this segment. He's buying as little life insurance as possible with as much money as he can put in. Now, who do you suppose sets that maximum amount? This is the most money that you can put into an insurance policy and still call it life insurance. Who do you suppose does that? Is it the agent? Is it the insurance company? Is it the client? No, it's none of those three. It's the government. The government has set a law that says you can only put so much money inside of an insurance policy and still qualify it as life insurance. Now, why would the government do that? Do you know that Roth IRAs grow in a tax-favored status? Roth IRAs grow without taxation, right? Well, do you know that the government limits how much money you can put into a Roth IRA? And why do you suppose they do that? Well, they do that because it makes sense that they would like to have you paying more tax, especially if you're making more money. You disqualify yourself to even qualify for a Roth. So the government said, this sweet deal that we've set up for the insurance industry is only so sweet. We're only going to allow you to do so much and still have it in a tax-favored status. The term that I've been using to put $15,000 in to only buy $569 is trying to keep people under something called a modified endowment contract. A modified endowment contract is a life insurance contract that has had too much money put in with too little insurance. So there's a page I just want you to see that talks about this modified endowment contract. I'll find it soon. All right. It says right here, the maximum accumulation. The dividend is used to purchase a combination of paid-up insurance and one-year term insurance to increase the policy death benefit and keep the policy from becoming a MEC. MEC is the initials for Modified Endowment Contract. All right. However, if dividends are surrendered or if changes are made to this policy may still become a MEC or a Modified Endowment Policy. So when you set up a contract properly, when Johnny becomes free, he sets it up so that he's always going to stay under that line so that it qualifies as life insurance. Because if you pay too much money into too little insurance, now it becomes a modified endowment contract. And what's wrong with that? If your life insurance becomes a modified endowment contract, it's taxed just like an IRA, just like a qualified plan, meaning that now you're going to have to pay tax on the gains and you've lost your tax shelter. All right? So we teach Johnny how to stay under the line, and we've done it now with two pieces. So in the drill down of Johnny being free, this is what it looks like. Johnny still paid the $15,000 of premium. That's the level premium all the way out through the rest of his life. He's only buying $516,000 of base coverage. And you'll remember Johnny Normal was buying $1.8 million. Johnny now has an additional piece. It's the second piece to a properly structured permanent life insurance contract. This $9,500 is purchasing flexible paid-up additions riders. So this is how it works. $9,500 can go into this flexible paid-up additions rider, which is a rider that holds two things. It holds cash and it holds paid-up additions, meaning you have additional insurance for this extra money that you've put into the contract. Take a look at this. When Johnny puts in $9,500 into this rider, that $9,500 is about 95% available to him to use for wherever else he goes, and it immediately becomes worth $52,000 of death benefit that grows every year thereafter. Now think of this. If you put in $1 into a bank and they allowed that to immediately become worth $5, would that be a pretty sweet bank to deal with? I think it would. That's how this works. When you put in $1, it becomes 5 times its value in its future. All right? And the dollar is there to use. So let's take a look at how this works. From the client perspective, you're paying the same $15,000. Let's go to the chart that shows how to analyze the actual value of this. When you put in $15,000, do you see that your cash surrender value is not 0? Do you remember how it was in the normally structured program? It was 0. This program has $9,300 of cash available. And the next year, when Johnny puts in $15,000, the insurance goes up in value and the cash goes up in value. So the cash is now worth $20,766. If you'll remember what Johnny Normal looked like, there was only $2,000 there. So is this a little better structure the first 2 years? Kind of a lot, right? Now we go on from there. Every year thereafter, this is the key. The third column from the right, do you see this increase in cash surrender value? If you'll compare that with the premium that's being put into the program, when you put $15,000 into this program, the value of the contract goes up $15,228. At that point, what is it costing you to take $15,000 of premium and have it increase $15,228? If you're saying, Dan, it didn't cost me anything, I'd be saying, you're right. You're just moving money from a checking account into a tax-sheltered account. And you see that you can build these contracts big enough where they far exceed what the rules and regulations of Roth accounts are. See, everybody that gets all jazzed about, I want a Roth account, they're jazzed because they're getting tax-favored status the rest of their life. What if you could do that inside of a contract that every time you put $1 in, it increased the value $5 into your future? What if you could? So take a look at this. Johnny does this for 5 years. Johnny's put in $15,000 for 5 years. How much is that? That's $75,000 of premiums, right? Johnny's put in $75,000 of premiums. Take a look at how much cash Johnny has in his account. Johnny has $68,000 of cash. So I want you to stop the story in your mind and say, if you put $75,000 into something and you have $68,000 of value, what did it cost you to build this program? What did Johnny B. Free have as an outlay that he doesn't have access to? That's right, $7,000. Johnny cannot access $7,000 of his dollars in those 5 years. That's somewhere around the cost of about $1,400 a year. So for $1,400 a year, Johnny has built a structure that from that point on, the rest of Johnny's life, he's going to be able to put $15,000 into a tax-sheltered account that he has liquidity to, that he can use it for any purpose that he wants, that he has control of it, and that now he can learn how to use this program to go buy other assets and have the money still grow. Can't wait to go into that segment a little more, but I just want you to understand this is how Johnny B. Free begins to structure. I'm going to take you to the next segment called Johnny B. Proper. Now, Johnny B. Proper is the proper structure, and it's a deep dive into learning how to structure life insurance properly. If you look at Johnny B. Free, this is great. But there's things that you could do to even make it better. We'll get that at the next segment. Thanks for listening.